Super Rugby Dream Team for round 4. As always, 15 guys. Ones that I thought played alright. From what I can remember and from what stats that I've looked up. Mix of teams. Kind of like a fantasy team. Loose positions, not specific ones. Good times. I'll start with some props. Aiden Johnston from the Highlanders. Maybe an unusual pick. I did kind of scour the props this week. That's the the game furthest back in my memory. I think he was alright from memory. His stats are good. 2 runs in 1 meter. Not well, that's being a prop. 15 out of 17 tackles is a bit of a Herculean effort for a big man. Didn't concede a single penalty against that Crusaders scrum. And ESPN has the Highlanders scrum stats at 100%. It's been that while, but I can't quite remember every single scrum from that game. I feel like he was alright. But yeah, Aiden Johnston. I managed to get a Highlander on the board. He is the only one. Taniela Tupou from the Reds. He's not the only Red on this board. They had a big victory over the Sunwolves. And there's one stat which is probably the most amazing for him. It's not the fact that he got a try, nor the fact that he got a try assist. He had 2 runs for 11 meters. He never does the standard 1 run, 1 meter like normal props. He is more of a ball running prop. He had 2 passes, beat a defender, 100% tackle rate with 3 from 3. But for him, unbelievably, and I don't say this in jest, he had no penalties conceded. He concedes a lot of penalties. I remember the analysis from the Super Rugby season last year. He was the most penalised prop by a mile. So the fact that he didn't concede a penalty is testament to the work that he was doing. Bit of dominance there. Try, can't complain. Connell McInerney from the Brumbies. 7 runs, 3 meters, solid effort. Remember, this guy is not usually the starting number 2 for the Brumbies. Big effort over the Chiefs. 6 passes. What's he doing? Beat a defender. Also didn't concede a penalty. The line-out was at 100%. And this man made 17 out of 17 tackles. A top shift from him when he's not even normally the starting guy. So very good effort. Locks. I've gone with Rondre Kriya from the Bulls. I managed to get a Bull on here in that kind of ugly game against the Blues. Bear in mind, I didn't watch all of that game. I only watched the highlights. 5 runs, 15 meters. It's more meter per run than I remember him being capable of getting, but good effort, man. 2 passes, had a clean break somehow. Beat a defender, had an offload as well, which I also don't remember about his game. 100% tackle rate with 9 from 9. 5 line-out wins, so a key member of that part of the set piece, and also managed a line-out steal. He may be a bit long in the tooth, but he still seems to be putting in a pretty good shift. Dunshea from the Crusaders. If you thought 5 runs for 15 meters was good, he had 5 runs for 41 meters for a lock who's not named Brody Retallick or Guido Petty. That's kind of not allowed. It's not supposed to be a thing, but it was. He also had 2 passes, beat a defender, also had a clean break. What's up with these locks getting clean breaks? 11 out of 13 tackles, 2 line-out wins, and a very good Crusaders effort. He had a very good shift as well. Remember, no Scott Barrett and no Sam Whitelock for that game, so you know, not normal to see the Crusaders with at least one of those very steady All Black hands in the lineup, but still did a very good job. Next, I got on with Robinson from the Blues. I had to get a blue in here, guys. Come on. Had to, even though that game, again, was supposedly pretty ugly. He got a try. 9 runs for 27 meters. He is a pretty good ball carrier. Beat a defender, had a clean break. Tackle rate of 90% according to ESPN with 9 from 10. Although Rugby Pass puts him at 14 from 14, which is even better. Also managed 2 turnovers, 1. So did it on attack, did it on defense. All-round good shift from him. Probably not as good as this guy. Pete Samu from the Brumbies, another key man in that big win over the Chiefs. 2 tries. He was running amok. 5 runs for 37 meters, had 2 clean breaks, beat 4 defenders, and managed 7 out of 8 tackles. He needs to play for the Wallabies, I think, under Dave Rennie. He's looking pretty good, is old Pete Samu. Next, I've gone with Stormer and Peter Steph du Toit. Pretty solid effort from him. And he can do better than this, which is always the scary thing. 8 runs, 7 meters. He's not a huge ball carrier. He's work rate man. That's what he is. 2 passes, I almost swore. 12 out of 14 tackles. Also managed the turnover and 4 line-out wins. It's, when you see Peter Steph du Toit, you know he's going to have some of the best tackle stats in the game. You know he's going to carry the ball even if he's not going to get that far. He's not afraid to take the ball into contact. He's going to boss the line out as much as he can. You can see why coaches kind of love him. He's that kind of dream player. Outside backs, we'll just backs first. We'll start with Tate McDermott. I think this is 3 weeks in a row, if I'm not mistaken. 3 weeks in a row, this guy's getting the dream team spot. And there were a few good guys who played 9 this week, but man, 2 tries and 2 try assists. So he's worth 20 points right there. 4 runs, 25 meters, 2 clean breaks, a defender beaten, 3 from 4 tackles. He probably needs to be a Wallaby as well at this point. He is playing really well for the Reds. And the Reds haven't been playing badly, but they finally actually managed to get a win, so that's good for them. Next, another guy who will have international aspirations is Kerwin Bosch. There's still one element of his game that's a wee bit lacking, and I'll get to that. But he had a try. He had a try assist, so again, that's worth 10 points right there. The try was probably a bit of a gift, but he set up Mpimpi for the break, so you can see why Mpimpi gave it back to him. 4 conversions and a penalty goal. I think they kicked it like 83% for that game. So he had 16 points overall, plus 5 from a try assist if you want to count those as well. 6 runs, 14 meters, but ran good supporting lines as well. Had a clean break, had 2 defenders beaten. 3 from 5 tackles for a guy who plays 10 is not terrible. He's had worse tackling stats than that before, but you still feel like if you're going to be an international 10 and you don't want big boppers running down your channel all day long, maybe show a little bit more on defense. He can improve his game in that regard. Definitely something you can work on. Part of it's probably mental. Paisami for the Reds. Almost didn't pick him, but I changed my mind after I looked at the stats. He had a try. A lot of Reds guys had a try in that game against the Sunwolves. 16 runs, so very busy, but they did have a lot of ball. 6 passes, so he's doing a good bit of distributing and a good bit of running hard at the line himself. 70 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 8 defenders beaten, 2 offloads, 7 from 9 tackles. He's only young. They've recently lost Jordan Petaia for the season, so he will be getting lots of minutes, and may that continue, man, because he looks like a quite talented youngster. The other midfielder gone with is Jack Goodhue from the Crusaders. He just keeps doing it, man. I could have gone with him or Eno, to be fair, because they were both very good, but I went with Goodhue. A try assist, and again, it's that offload of his, which is just plain magic. You know he's going to do it, but you can't stop him. 11 runs, 52 meters, 14 passes. 14 passes. He's really distributing a lot. Like I mentioned, an offload. 4 defenders beaten. 9 from 10 tackles. He still gets underrated a bit here in New Zealand, but I am definitely sold on him as being a top class player. Outside backs, I've gone with Makazola Mpimpi. Could have had a hat-trick, but he gave the ball to Bosch for that 1 try. 2 tries and a try assist. Like I mentioned, could have had a trick. 4 runs. Only 4 runs. 4. 111 run meters. I mean, one of them's a big break, but still. 3 passes, 2 clean breaks, 5 defenders beaten. That's all from 4 runs, man. What a return from that guy. 2 from 5 tackles is the one kind of black mark on his game, but overall, man, how good is he? He is class. What else we got? Tom Banks from the Brumbies. Brumbies were pretty good, man, and they're getting represented on the board. A try and a try assist. 15 runs for him, 102 run meters for him. Big ticker in this one. 7 passes, 3 clean breaks, 4 defenders beaten. He looked legit dangerous in this one. Had an offload, 100% tackle rate with 1 from 1. I think last week he was like none from 1, so it's an improvement. And his kicks for touch were generally chewing off quite a few meters. So Interestingly, the Brumbies relied more on their backs than their like driving maul to get them to go for ball in this game. So power to them, man. If they got the talent, why not? And lastly, I've gone with another Crusader in George Bridge. Another guy who probably gets a wee bit underrated, similarly to Jack Goodhue, but he's got the goods as well. A try and a try assist. 20 runs for a guy playing on the wing is insane. 81 run meters, so his meter per run ratio is not fantastic compared to Mapimpi's. You know, he got the same, well, he got more from 4 runs, but still, 20 runs. Work rate, man. 2 clean breaks, 6 defenders beaten, 12 passes, so he's not always taking the ball into contact. 3 offloads means he's always dangerous when he is in contact, and 4 from 5 tackles, defensively very sound. That is the dream team. I initially had Esterhazen in because he was very, very good as well for the Sharks, but I did swap him up for Paisami. Hendricks was also good for the Bulls. Jamie Roberts, I didn't see that game enough to know, but he had pretty good numbers. Was he good for the Stormers? His numbers look pretty decent. Grace and Christie also for the Crusaders. Lynch is also for the Highlanders. Cancellieri from the Hawares. Feawaisotia for the Reds. Korobidi for the Rebels. Fenta. Kata, the list goes on and on and on and on. It always does. Try not to do honourable mentions, but there you go. Couldn't help myself. That's the team. As always, you guys let me know your thoughts. Drop us a like if you got the time. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.